Don't you love it?
Yeah, I do.
That's so cool. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, we're good. So we got two pictures there.
Yeah.
Yeah. One I love and one you love. Which is the one you like? Show the camera. Yeah, show the camera. So there's that one. There's a couple of ideas here, which are both would be amazing. There's that one and there's that one.
Yeah.
Which this one is called Play It Safe. This is called Change Your Life.
Yeah.
Let's play a game, shall we? Let's flip a coin and see what the coin says. Just for a laugh. Doesn't mean you have to do it, but we'll just flip a coin and see what happens. I'm all for change your life, but I can understand. At the end of the day, the rule is it's your hair. You always get the final say. So let's say heads, tails.
Okay.
Heads, tails. See what the coin says. I was saying earlier, the coin is the salon mom. Because it's like, let's see what mom says. That's what the coin tosses. So let's see what mom says. So that's tails, that's heads.
Okay.
Let's see what mom says. Mom says that one. Anyhow, your call, your hair, you always get the final say.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to veto mom.
Yeah, I think I'm.
Yeah, that's fine. Let me know if you change your mind, because we can always just go the other direction. Also, for those who've missed out on that, mom said that one, but we're going to do that one anyway because Hannah's a wee bit nervous. Understandable. They're both great. They both suit the project.
Yeah.
I like the other one because it's the bigger impact, and I'm going to support you for once a month, for even a year. You get 3 years worth of free haircuts out of me because I don't change hair and leave people hanging. So that's amazing. It's an amazing offer. Anyhow. Come on over.
So you've done this haircut a few times?
Yeah. A lot of people have gravitated towards it because it's just taking mullets to the next level.
Yeah.
Because mullet had that shock value. Coming out of lockdown, a lot of people did mullets, and now they're like, what more can we do? And then you show that shape. And also there's a model, Peyton Knight, who has it. And then when you do a modern take on it, it's kind of fun too. But yours is that's more of a page boy. Like they can be called a wedge cut haircut if it's shorter. The longer version is more like a page boy. That's more of a page boy, which is retro hair. So for me, it fits that criteria of the project we're doing. And yeah, you're more like of a late 70s look as well. And we're using a retro chair and a retro cape and everything as part of the optics of the whole thing.
Yeah. So. I quite like this.
The chair's comfortable,
cape.
eh?
Yeah.
And the cape too. Yeah.
The cape.
Yeah. It makes you feel like you're from the era. And the chair makes you feel like you're mafia and you want to yell at Cousin Vinny or something. It's a cool chair. But the guy who I got it from, there's a barbershop called the Godfather Barber.
Yeah.
So he restores them, and then it was a good price. I'm like, oh, I'll take that. But it was like might as well buy that. It was a good price. So I was going to put it in the corner of the shop over there, just as a novelty type thing.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'll try one haircut in it because I've never done a haircut in a barber chair in my life.
Yeah.
Because I'm a hairdresser, right? So I did a bob in it. And I'm like, oh my god, this is so much better.
Yeah.
So I started to use it, and then what happened coming out of lockdown? People were like mullets, and I'm like, let's explore more than just mullets because a lot of people are dressing from that era. So if you're gonna dress that way, let's do a haircut from the era. And then we opened up into wedge haircuts. We opened up into some people have done bowl cuts, like you saw, shag haircuts. So and just even those like that short haircut you saw there with all that coiffy stuff. That's more 80s and stuff. So it's just more exploring that era.
Yeah.
It inspires. And then we're going to put in the video because traditionally I've done editorial in magazine.
Yeah.
And then I decided to get away from that because I was running out of ideas. And then before that, years ago, like 20 years ago, 15, whatever, I worked on film sets.
Oh, cool.
So with film sets, you're doing period hair as well. Like the director's like, we're doing this, going to be like a 1939 and we need this kind of look and blah, blah, blah. So you're creating that character. You're working with the director tells you what he needs. You're working with the actors and then blah, blah, blah. So I used to love that kind of stuff. But then I decided I don't want to work on a film set ever again. But I still want to do that creativity that goes along with it. So these are a lot of good reasons for doing this kind of thing. It means you can be that creative, but on my terms. You know, so it's a game changer. And I'll give you one last chance. Have a look and have a think. I know it's still going to be a no, but...
Yeah.
It's the better life experience. And you get support.
Yeah, no, maybe I'll come back and
Yeah, you can always come back.
yeah, get that one.
I'm all for it. But at least you're doing something, because doing nothing's not an option anyway.
But yeah, the longer, you know how you suggested the longer line?
What do you mean? Like,
Or like longer fringe? Yeah.
yeah, that's what that's going to be. You can see where the fringe is going to end up by looking at that line.
Yeah.
So it's going to be bridge of your nose.
Okay.
And then that's just pushed over. So yeah, it's going right to the bridge of your nose,
Okay.
angled on the side, and that's just past shoulder. So it's like, that's more of a page boy than anything.
Yeah.
And page boy were more 60s and carried into the 70s. The most iconic version of a page boy in the 70s is the band The Ramones. Those guys had it. But girls had it too. So,
Yeah.
you know, some girls in the 70s had it too. But page boy is definitely a carryover from the 60s into the 70s.
Yeah.
So. And you can see what's coming off your fringe. Not much. Open your eyes. You can see how much came off your fringe.
Yeah.
Not much.
Okay.
So this definitely for you is a play it safe haircut. The other one, like I said, it's the impact. The life
Yeah.
experience. You're 80 years old, you look back and think, oh my god, I'm so glad I did that. You can see it up there, not much is coming off. Where did you grow up?
Here, actually, in Wellington. Yeah.
Cool. You're one of the Wellington born and breds.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
did you go to college?
I went to Marsden and Karori.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then for my last year I went to Wellington Girls
Oh, yeah.
in town.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not many people, are born and bred here.
No,
you
it's
know.
true. It's kind of crazy. Wellington's a very transient place. And I see, because I'm from another country that came here. So I always, when I look at Wellington, there's three types of people in Wellington.
Yeah.
Born and bred like you.
Yeah.
The Kiwis from another place in New Zealand that moved here.
Yeah.
And live here now. And the ones like me from another place in the world that moved here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's those three types of people.
Yeah.
And when it comes to hanging out, who they're, friend circles, but this is not a knock against you, but this is kind of what happens. It's just a natural thing about human nature,
Yeah.
right? The ones who are from here, grew up here and have all their friends from here. But when people come into their little groups, it tends to be more Kiwis that are from somewhere else in New Zealand that come here. So you get some of those, but you don't get as much as the internationals, right? The Kiwis that move here from somewhere that come here end up with both. The Wellingtonians, the locals, and also the internationals. And the internationals end up with more friends of the Kiwis that moved here and some of the locals, right? So you can see that the split between the three, right? Because if you're from here, you have all your friends you grew up with. But then you're always like at a drink, oh, this is so-and-so, they just moved from Christchurch, which is good.
Yeah.
And oh, this is so-and-so, they just moved from, Libya. Like, that doesn't happen very often. Or maybe Germany or Holland or whatever, but it doesn't happen as often.
Yeah.
But when you're not from here, you're looking to meet people, and what you have in common is people who aren't from here, which tends to be from another country or the Kiwis that just moved here. And then the locals are like, yeah, your friend, there's nothing wrong with that though.
Yeah.
It's same with me back in Canada.
Yeah.
I have all my local friends, and we're, I think everyone's a little bit cliquey.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it here. But that's actually true in a lot of places in the world.
Yeah.
But what makes Wellington unique is a lot of the ones who are from here are, they go abroad, they do their own way, they do the experience. So the ones who are like been here longer, then they open up their horizons more. And that's true where I come from in Toronto as well. It's very, like a lot of people born and bred Toronto aren't there anymore. Like I'm in New Zealand now.
Mm.
So. But a lot of people around the world can relate to that. I also lived in Nova Scotia, and that's very cliquey.
Yeah.
Nova Scotia, Halifax, Nova Scotia, and Wellington, New Zealand have a lot in common.
Yeah.
So much in common. And I went originally from Halifax to Wellington. Like I went from there to here. And then I went back to Canada, and then I came back here, and I stayed here.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I love it here. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It's a great country. Those watching at home, because who's watching these movies, the ones who can't sleep at 2 a.m. or just watching people get haircuts on YouTubes or whatever. So that's what's going to end up watching these, which is fun. And then things we're saying, so anyone around the world who wants to think about moving to New Zealand, Wellington is the best. And I also always say that I moved to Wellington, I didn't move to New Zealand. Because although I love New Zealand, it's a great place to go on road trips and visit. The problem with the rest of New Zealand is the sun goes down, they go to bed. But Wellington, you can go for dinner at 2 a.m. And it's small, 350,000 people with a lot going on, and you can go for dinner at 2 a.m. The rest of the country is 9 o'clock and they're closed.
Yeah.
Except Auckland, but Auckland's too big.
Yeah.
But you go to Nelson, it's like, it's beautiful. Sun goes down, they go to bed. Anyone up after hours, like, sketchy. You don't want to hang out with them anyway. So the back, we're not going to cut anything. We're going to cut very, very little.
Okay.
So it's all the shaping to the front with this haircut. You can still change your mind if you want to do the big change.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to. Are you half thinking about it? Or is it an absolute no? Just give me your hands
Yeah,
up.
not today,
Not
I
today.
don't think.
But you might come around on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always welcome back. People can leave their comments below.
Yeah.
She wants to come back at some point and what they think she should get. But no head shaving.
No, I think, yeah, that's pretty out there.
Yeah. The point of this project was going to be no head shaving anyway. It was going to be not a thing. But then we did with that one scenario because of the scenario. because she's like, the boyfriend already said, well, don't cut your hair, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So she did it to, that was because it was inspired, but I think on the internet there's all kinds of, you can find all kinds of that stuff. We're doing retro haircuts, focused on the late 70s, early 80s. Sometimes we'll jump into the 90s, sometimes we'll jump into the 60s, sometimes we'll jump into the 20s. But for whatever reason, coming out of lockdown, the mullets inspired me to do late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
And then we'll look at other eras as we go. But the late 70s haircut is the best for women because I think that's the best era for women, with women's liberation, women's movement, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I always call it a time when the late 70s was when guys sang like girls and girls sang like women, right? Like the Bee Gees were all high pitchy. Michael Jackson was all high pitchy. But then you have like Heart singing Barracuda. They were like sang like woman. Sang like a woman. They took control of their mics. So I can play the music after. I'm not gonna play it on here for copyright reasons.
Yeah.
But if you just do that, play a Bee Gees song, then after play Heart Barracuda, compare, right? And then you can play a late 70s Jackson 5 or Michael Jackson, who's he was a teenager at that time, and what were other teenagers doing in the same era, play Runaways, Cherry Bomb. So absolutely, guys sang like girls and girls sang like women in the late 70s. And then the girls had all these amazing haircuts as well. So absolutely, it's an amazing time to be a woman.
Yeah.
So that's another reason that it inspires me to recreate that time. But anyone home could do what I just said. Play a Bee Gees song. How deep is your love? Du, du, du. And then play Heart Barracuda. And make a comparison. I'll play it for you before you leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's barely anything coming out of the back. So if you do decide, because you mentioned earlier that you're thinking about growing your hair. If you do decide to continue to let this grow, it'll be fine. Because all you did was shape the front, and that shaping in the front will look great as it grows anyway.
Yeah.
So you do have that option of growing your hair longer if that's what inspires you. You do have the option of coming back and doing more.
Okay.
Yeah. It's your hair. I'll give my ideas because it's inspirational, but if it's not inspiring you, it doesn't happen. Do you ever watch YouTube when you can't sleep?
No.
No.
Do you have a cat?
Sorry?
Do you have a cat?
The cat?
Do you have a pet?
Oh, no. I used to in Toronto.
Yeah.
I have a partner now. We have 2 kids, and my partner's allergic to cats.
Oh, okay.
But I would have a cat because my daughters want one. But my partner's like, that said, no cats. I'm definitely allergic.
Yeah.
So my oldest daughter's the best. She's 6 now, but she said it like a couple years ago. She's 4. She says, "Mom, when you die, can we get a cat?"
Yeah.
You know what kids are like at that age, though.
Yeah.
And then Mom's like, I just laugh. But the kids want one. Do you have a cat?
No pets. But yeah, I do like animals.
Yeah. We'll end up with a dog at some point, but I have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they're not old enough to be responsible for a dog yet. So you'd end up being responsible for those 2 kids, and then a dog on top of that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Or a puppy on top of that. Now, the kids have to be a bit older to take that on, as much as they can. Not 100%, as much as they can. Because right now, like having kids at that age is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And you throw a dog into it, and especially if it's a puppy. Puppies take years to mature, depending on the breed. Some can take 3 to 5 years to fully calm down. And then you have kids that age in the house on top of that. Yeah. That's fun. And we didn't layer the back. I'm not keen on layering it because he didn't have it yet. We can do that another, even if you decide not to go shorter, but if you want to do more with this, just, let's say 4 to 8 weeks, somewhere in there if you want to come back. You can still do something the same length, but just
Okay.
a bunch of layers in it. So we can still work with the length you have. I don't see you with long hair, to be honest. You said you're going to go hair longer. I see you, this sort of length is great, maybe
Yeah.
a little bit longer is
Yeah.
great, cutting it shorter is great. They're all good options,
Yeah.
but I don't see you with,
No,
No.
I've never really had
No.
that long hair.
yeah, no. So this is the first one of many. You know, you're welcome to come back.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. So you can see that fringe is going to go that way. And we'll round brush it round. And again, mousse and hairspray. People will now be like, does he have anything other than mousse and hairspray? Yes, I do for paying customers. But this is not paying customers. The rule is that if it didn't exist in the 70s, we're not using it.
Yeah.
If mousse and hairspray existed in the 70s and 80s, we're using it. And same with hair straightener. Didn't exist back then, we're not using it today
Yeah.
for this project. Same on a film set, when I worked on a film set, you know, you're creating errors and working with different people. I always just say, the best rule for authenticity is if it didn't exist back then, don't use it.
Yeah.
Because the straightener, some people will just go to the default straightener, but it's a 60s thing, but they're using it to do that flicky out,
Yeah.
but it over smooths the hair, where the hair back then, you know, you can make it look like the 60s with a straightener, but it ends up not looking like it's from the 60s, because the straightener also smooths the cuticle right out.
Yeah.
So you end up with this super shiny, smooth 60s flick.
Yeah.
And if you look at photos from back then, no. The moment you put a straightener on their hair to try to create the 60s,
Yeah.
visibly it doesn't match.
I suppose they use like curlers, you know,
Yeah.
like and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but they did have hair dryers for heat. They did have the different sort of brushes.
Yeah.
And then the same sort of thing. They're trapping heat to smooth. But they did used to iron their hair in the 60s, but they used to use a clothing iron.
Yeah.
So they used to go So really, if you're working on a film set, you could do that if you were going for authenticity.
Yeah.
But a hairdryer is not going to create that smoothness of a modern hair straightener. It's still going to be like 60s texture. So we're going to use, it'll be that size of a round brush. Because we're going to make it round. And this would be a good haircut, for example, like you want to work in a dentist office, and you got a haircut for the interview. It's a good haircut for that. Both in 1970 and today. Works on both levels. That other haircut even more. Short haircuts like that stand out in CV processes. A stack of CVs, and all the girls look the same in the interview. There's that one girl like, where would I want to go with that really cool haircut? Because it stands out. So that stuff does work. over. Your battery is running low. And that's still going. Okay, we'll try again. You look like a Charlie Angel. It's more like a Charlie Angel with the waist and blow dry. That's too round. Again, I was trying to not recreate too much of those things.
Yeah.
The length's the same, the style's a little more Charlie Angel.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
It's fun. And we can slide this off. Grab a mirror, shoulder back. And people at home can comment and they can also say what they think you should get next. Grow it, maybe cut it, maybe at the same sort of length and different things with it. All options are good.
Cool.
That's cool, eh?
Yeah.
So the length of the back I didn't even touch at all. Just framing in the front.
Yeah.
Also, there's no layering in that. That's the same weight you had coming in, which is cool. Like it's the kind of the look it is. If you're gonna do something next without really changing length, I would just come back and do layers.
Yeah.
So, but for now, this is fun. Enjoy this for now.
Yeah.
Cool. And if you get inspired, let's just chop it all off. Then, yeah, let's do that. But you have to be ready for that before you come through the door.
Yeah.
Cool. Come with me. We'll do some after shots. Let's put your jacket back on because I like the look of it.
Okay.
Like denim with that hair looks amazing. And sunglasses and things like that.
Do you want me to put my sunglasses on?
What kind of sunglasses have you got?
Oh, they're on my belly.
Yeah, let's have a look at what you got because I have accessories as well.
Oh, yeah.
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 They have them back then.
Yeah.
So we'll do some shots without them and then we'll do some shots
Okay.
with them.
Yeah.
But you can put them, just put it down on top of the legs and that for now. Yeah, just on there. Let's see if I.
Right.